All right, welcome to this week's Whole Wheat Costa. Tonight, we have something different on the beer table. I promise the beer table wasn't dead. Tonight, we have Moscow Mules.
So this is the first time we've had to restart the podcast since like week two. 'Cause
Because Kevin was
I was
texting.
finishing up a text conversation and I thought it'd be kind of funny and we would work it in, but it didn't really work. And then JD yelled at me, and a lot of tension now, but it's fine. I'll look up the Moscow Mule facts. I don't really know anything about it. JD did tell me the name like 3 times before I knew what he was talking about. So apparently, made with vodka, spicy ginger beer, which is what we have. Do we have lime juice in this?
Yeah.
Oh, lime juice as well. There's no slice or wedge of lime.
Nah, I mean, I have lime, but I'm not putting it in there.
So this is a bastardized Moscow Mule.
It's not a bad size. We're both wearing sweatpants. We don't need to be fancy.
Maybe a St. Petersburg Mule. It's a type. This says, I don't know what this means. Wikipedia says it is a type of buck and therefore sometimes known as a vodka buck. I don't know what a buck is.
Oh, and here's the thing about my Moscow Mules.
Yeah.
They're in full copper glasses.
They are.
They're not in the shitty copper glasses with the stainless steel inside. Full copper glasses.
Even a copper straw.
cups. Yeah. Copper straw.
Popular served in a copper mug is the next sentence. Although public health advisors recommend the mugs be plated with nickel or stainless steel on the inside of the lip.
Well, we're not gay.
So too much copper has been linked to Alzheimer's. Okay, buck, also known as mule, are slightly antiquated names for a family of historical mixed drinks that involve ginger ale or ginger beer. Okay, that's not an interesting fact. I apologize for that fact. Sometimes they're in Collins glasses.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. It looks like just a regular glass. Doesn't look like anything really special.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, guess what happened to me tonight?
What?
I was cut off by the same guy. Like this happened before, twice. He cut me off, and I knew it was the same guy, even though it was dark out. I knew it was the same guy because he was driving like a Ford Explorer,
Yeah.
and he had a U-Haul trailer behind him
Yeah.
with a motorcycle in the back.
I mean,
so he cut me off,
yeah.
and like it was terrible. Like I almost shit my pants. And then I guess he exited somehow I got in front of him, and he exited behind me off of 295,
Yeah.
and then cut me off in like 3 other cars again. And it's like, dude, you have a trailer.
So
You can't drive like an asshole.
two possibilities. One,
He's an asshole.
It was the same
That's
guy.
Only possibility.
Two, everyone with a pickup truck towing a motorcycle is an asshole. Unless one of you 5 listeners are that person. Then
No, he
totally cool.
It was totally the same guy. No, this
Yeah.
guy would not listen to podcasts. This guy listens to heavy metal, definitely,
This dude,
or classic rock.
what if this dude listens to this podcast tomorrow and he like cries and he's like real sad?
Well,
He's like, "Oh, I
fuck
love
him.
you guys."
Fuck him.
That's probably what's gonna happen. So drinking this with a straw is like a really weird sensation.
Yeah.
To have like just like a cold metal straw in your mouth, like it just feels wrong. It just feels wrong.
I took my straw out.
Yeah, I'm about to do that. It
Yeah.
feels real weird. I mean, I don't know if it's giving me less copper exposure, so I don't get the Alzheimer's, but
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably gonna get it anyway from all the copper mules we drink.
It definitely needed more ginger beer because I made them for New Year's Eve. I made these. They were delicious. These are pretty good, but the other ones tasted better.
I'd probably prefer more ginger beer to the vodka because I'm like I don't really drink that much, so I'm kind of a pussy with the drinking.
Yeah.
But so I pretty much just thinking about workout stuff all week. So it's been like probably a real boring week of things for me to talk about.
Yeah. But you were telling me you're gonna try to propose, and just a bunch of, I think there's definitely a lot of idiots in your life, so that's not good.
So just real wrought with problems so far. So I mean I've been planning this for literally hours at this point. I'm not a good planner. I guess I've been thinking about it since last week. So Kelly's birthday is on Wednesday of this week, which will be like 2 weeks ago when this is released because we're out of data for this month.
No,
Next week?
next
Okay.
Monday.
So it'll be last week when this is released.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're listening to this, everything probably went well.
Yeah.
Or we didn't give a shit and it's fine and we just released it anyway.
Yeah.
So So she told me a couple things she wanted for her birthday, which were actually pretty reasonable because she thinks we have way more money than we do and always wants like super expensive stuff. And she sent me a pair of boots that was like only like $90, which is like pretty cheap for something that she would want for her birthday. So I totally probably should have just ordered it. I mean, but I knew in my head that I wanted to propose. So I knew I was going to get an engagement ring, but now I'm like, it's a real time crunch because now like I basically have a Wednesday afternoon to get it. So like I have to find something now because I don't have any other birthday present.
Well, like you're like panicking about the time crunch. Just take your time and relax. You work like what 3 blocks from Jewelers Roll?
I work basically on Jewelers Roll.
You are fine.
Yeah.
You just tell everyone they have penis cancer. You leave at lunch and you just do that.
That's basically what I'm going to do.
Lunch, yeah.
I think my schedule's really late that day, so I'm just going to close the rest of it and then just go over. And then if I have time at the end of the day to come back, good. I was actually texting my boss that. That's why I was texting at the beginning of the podcast.
Anyway, Kelly wanted boots. So guess what I bought this weekend?
What?
For the first time in like probably 14 or 15 months.
Fine pair of boots?
Sneakers.
Okay.
The sneakers I had, they were so worn out. They had holes.
Yes.
And then I bought the new. So I've been not wearing the same pair for 5 years, but I've been wearing the same exact sneaker for 5 years because of my ankle, and it feels really good. Like there's a ton of support and everything. And Saucony has discontinued that shoe.
Oh no!
So I
should have bought a few pairs.
Yeah, I want to go back tomorrow. Like even on my credit card, like I want to buy like 5 or 6 pairs. Then I have like 5 or 6 years of sneakers, and they're not like even that like nice looking, but I can run in them. And most shoes I can't, but these have like the right amount of support. And the company discontinued them, but like. If you could see pictures of the old shoe compared to the new shoe, it's like it's worn. The old shoe's worn flat, and then these have like probably a half an inch of tread on them.
Yeah, dude, it was a shock when I so I bought a pair of sneakers.
I felt taller. And all the padding was in there, so like I'm wearing it and I'm walking around tonight. I'm like, holy shit! I forgot that these shoes have padding.
So I bought a pair of sneakers a couple months ago. Prior to that, when me and Kelly first started dating, she bought me a pair of sneakers. That was like 3 years ago. And prior to that, Bonnie picked out the last pair of sneakers I had. So that was like 6 years ago.
Oh, so Bonnie is the first person you cheated on, but not sexually.
Yeah, essentially.
Just emotional cheating.
Yes. Which is totally fine. So I went like 2 or 3 years with each pair of sneakers, and yeah, I mean they were at the point then when I bought sneakers recently, yeah, it felt like a totally different sort of thing. Like I didn't even understand how bad the other shoes were because you get used to them till I bought new ones, and it was like crazy.
You feel like you have like more energy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like you can just walk forever.
And here's the thing: it's not that I couldn't afford them, but it's more or less like. Next check.
Yeah, that's what I was
you just push it off to the next check, and then this check, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go buy these sneakers.
Yeah,
and I think miracle.
I think you're in the same boat I am of like you pretty much wear them all the time too. I mean I wear them because I wear them to work too, and then I wear them to my second job, and then I wear them at home. And I theoretically bought a couple pairs of sneakers so I could like wear one at work and one at home. It never works out that way. Yeah. I don't know. I still have the old ones because I wear them sometimes. Like if I know I'm going to have like a potentially messy day at work, then I'll wear them. And so I try to alternate a little bit so these don't wear out completely again, like the other ones did. But I mean, they probably will.
I have. I don't wear sneakers at work. I have steel toe boots.
Yeah.
And I get like steel toe sneakers because they're way lighter. Than the boots and everything. Even though I did get Doc Martens one time because the company pays for them, so I got these big old Doc Martens. Then I realized like how long it takes to get in and out of them. So I have this pair of because I have nerve damage on my ankle. Certain shoes, it has to go above the ankle or just below the ankle.
Yeah.
So I have a pair of Timberland They look like hiking shoes, but they have steel toe in them.
Yeah.
It's they end right where the nerve damage is, so I can't wear them.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to give them away, And then I tried my one roommate. I got a story about my roommate.
Yeah.
I asked him, I was like, hey, you want these steel toe boots? He's like, no, I can't wear, no one can wear steel toe. I work like 10 hours a day. He works for Amazon. And I was like, I wear steel toe boots 10 hours a day. So do the other 20 people I work with.
Yeah.
He's like, no one can. And I was like, everybody does it. I've been
Yeah, I'm
doing it
pretty sure a lot
for
of people
5
do, yeah.
years, you know? All the people in construction. Like, I know a guy who did it 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 30 years. So I was trying to get them, give them away, but I can't find anyone with size 12 feet that wear steel toes.
Yeah. If you could shrink them down a few sizes.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what the foot size measurement is based on? I learned this morning in the shower.
No. Is it the old thing about the king?
Barley corn.
Barley corn.
So,
I have heard this.
So apparently, it was a video about like old time measurements that are like don't make any sense that we still use. One was like about a furlong, which is like the amount of field that an average oxen could plow before having to rest. That's like how they figured out the furlong measurement. And an acre is essentially like based on the furlong. It's like the area of that like a whole team of oxen could work in a day is an acre. And it's somewhat standardized now, but the foot size, the reason why like it doesn't make any sense why like the difference between a 9 and a 10 is like some random measurement is because essentially a size 0 kid's shoe is the length of 12 barley corns laid end to end, and each size up from there you add one more barley corn. So
it's like not an even inch or anything.
No, it's a barley corn.
It's a barley corn. Yeah. It makes sense.
I'm not sure what the length of a barley corn is. Like I'm sure like it's standardized now, but that's what it was based on.
All right, that makes sense. Something useless like that, because they didn't have calibration and they couldn't I guess use inches.
Well, it's pretty. I mean, some of the weight and measurement stuff is pretty interesting. Things like a meter and like kilogram were like really hard to standardize. Like there was it's like the whole thing about like Napoleon being short was like just like a measurement thing. Like he was like
it was
like regular height.
It was the British trying. It was like propaganda. That's all it was. It's propaganda, British propaganda.
Well, so it was true that he was like 5'3".
No, he was 5'6".
No, he was 5'3" in French. In French, or I guess not 5'3". Like I mean, essentially the equivalent of like our 5'3". He was that whatever their meter equivalent was in French, but the French meters were longer. So
because it says here Napoleon's height was 5'7".
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But
I guess that's standard 5'7", which is your height.
Yeah, so his real height was like as we measured today was 5'7",
which is your height in boots.
Yes,
yeah.
But whatever the measurement would have been in French sounded short. But at the time, French meters were longer than British meters. So that's why the French were like, he's only like this many meters, but in French meters that was like actually kind of tall for the time period.
What's crazy about all those measurements is like the English invented like the inches and all this other stuff that we use, yards and miles, and then they're like, we'll just use we'll just go over, and then they're like, well, and then British people now are like, well, why do they use all those stupid things? Because you guys invented it. We're just too stupid to switch over. Like you can't switch over. Now. Like you invented it, but now most of the British use like a bastardization of standard and metric.
Yeah,
and then they have their own measurements for weight. Stone. Who does stone anymore?
Yeah,
stone's like 29 pounds.
What?
14 or something.
One of the things that pisses me off at work is that I can never say the right measurement, and that like I know what I'm talking about, but like the other person's a dick 100% of the time. So like if I'm talking to like other healthcare people, I usually talk in metric system, but if I'm talking to patients, I usually talk in like ounces, and literally whichever one I say, the person asks me for the other one, like 100% of the time. like if someone has like and sometimes I'll just say both. But sometimes I'll assume and say one. I'll be talking to a patient. I'll be like, oh, there's like 6 ounces left in your bladder. Like, well, how many milliliters is that? Why the fuck do you need to know?
Yeah.
Like, if you think you need to know, convert it in your own head.
Yeah.
If you're so smart,
if you can use that measurement,
yeah,
you can convert it.
Exactly. If you're so smart that you needed a milliliters, multiply the ounces by 30.
Yeah.
That's the milliliters.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
We do because I ship internationally.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest part about my job, because depending on the chemical, it's either in liters. It's mostly in liters.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in kilograms.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's in grams. Sometimes it's in ounces.
Yeah.
And like turkey will accept only certain hazards in ounces.
Huh.
Only certain in kilograms. Only in grams.
That's
and
weird.
Only in liters. Like, you have to know all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you just read the book. You just have to know how to find it in the book, like which ones. But it's like, why can't we just have, like, we're a chemical company. Why do we do anything in ounces and pounds?
Yeah. You think it would just be standard, and
Right.
people, you think people would adapt to you if they want to do business. I don't know.
But that's the thing about it. Like, people would make a big deal about it. Like, yeah, but you don't have to use that at home.
Yeah.
Like, here it's a measurement, but you could name it anything, and like, that's just how people have to use it. It's not like the people in production have to do all the math themselves. They just look at scales and they weigh stuff, and then that's it. Like, they just have to make sure it's good.
Yeah. One measurement I never use, which I probably could use, is the banana equivalent. What is it? The banana equivalent dose.
What's that?
So
A banana for scale?
So it's the amount of radiation you're exposed to by eating one banana. Is a banana equivalent dose a bed?
Is that an actual term?
Yeah. So
Even though bananas like vary in size.
Yeah. Well, it's just an average.
Right.
So like just walking around every day, we get about as much background radiation exposure as like if you ate 100 bananas. Because so a certain percentage of elemental potassium comes in a radioactive form. So essentially all bananas are like a little bit radioactive. So it's useful sometimes to describe to people like the amount of radiation exposure and stuff that they would have from different medical tests. Like, well, this is like if you eat 100 bananas, like that's what this test is like. Because like some people really don't get it. Like there's really kidney stones and stuff. Like you'll order somebody like a plain like single shot X-ray can be helpful for certain types of kidney stones. People are like, it's so many radiation. I'm like, well, yeah, a CAT scan. That's the other option. We get a CAT scan. That's literally 1,000 times more radiation than this thing I want to order. So like you're gonna be fine. Like if you fly in an airplane one time, you're gonna get like 6 times the radiation dose of this X-ray. So
have you been to the beach lately?
Yeah. Well, true. Yeah. I didn't even think about the sun thing, but yeah.
I mean, the sun at its highest point in the sky, if you're out in it, that's a lot of radiation too.
So the thing that's tricky about radiation is there's 2 different models, and it's unclear which is true. So you really can't say for 100% that people aren't fine even with low dose radiation, because the one model is like a minimum exposure model, which is that like if you stay under, some theoretical minimum lifetime exposure, that you essentially don't have any risk. And then there's another model that says, any amount of radiation is bad, and even under the generally acceptable limit, even little doses of radiation are bad for you. And, and it's just a linear scale. The more radiation, the worse. But it hasn't been proven like which one of those is right yet. So,
a lady at work, kind of on the same topic, production, they use nitrogen to flush the bags, so there's no oxygen in the bags. And so when I was in production, the lady would complain, like she'd have like dry nosebleed. She's like, I've been going through this for years. It's probably from the nitrogen coming out of the bags. And I listened to this for like a year, and then one day I go, you know, the atmosphere is like 80% nitrogen. He's like, no, it's not. It's all oxygen. I was like, no.
It's only a little bit.
Yeah,
Oxygen.
it's like 20% oxygen.
Yeah.
And like then we had a meeting in like right after that a couple weeks later we had a meeting like a quarterly meeting. We have like 4 a year, and they were talking about someone complained about the nitrogen, and I was like, you guys do know nitrogen. Yeah, and like, yeah, we're getting to that. People keep complaining about like they're complaining about the nitrogen. And they're like, we're gonna try to get to that where people understand that. Like this is one of like the higher ups like nitrogen is mostly like, and people are still arguing it to this day. Like 4 years later, they're like, it's because we purge with nitrogen, we get nosebleeds. It's in the middle of winter that you get most of your nosebleeds, probably because your house is dry.
It's amazing the stuff that people just believe and like refuse to accept any evidence to the contrary. Like, I don't know. I feel like
that last sip of my mule tastes like pure aftershave.
Yeah. It's probably all the vodka's probably at the bottom. That's probably why I feel fine at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like not so much in my current job because I don't know, but the last job I was at, I feel like I just like when I worked there full time, I just spent a lot of time debunking myths. Is what I felt like. Like I remember one was, so it was on a general unit. I feel like when you're working like the ICU and stuff, you're just used to just slamming like fluids into people and like you're fine. But there was like this myth that like, you know, if you ran stuff too fast into like a smaller IV, that like you would like blow the person's IV. And then one day I was looking at the IV or like the IV catheter and like the packaging, and then like even the smallest one we use, the one that like most people but me don't use because I think they're fine and everybody else thinks they're too small. You can run up to like 100 milliliters of fluid per minute in it, or like something crazy, like some crazy amount that you would never run into like an actual person. So I like pointed out to everyone. Everyone's like, nah, but still they like blow easier. I'm like, but it says it right on the packaging. Like, you can run it so much faster than we do.
It's called engineering. You know, and it says that 100 milliliter per minute. It's probably more than that.
Yeah.
The 100 milliliters is probably half of what you could do.
Yeah.
They don't ever put the full thing on there. Like your speedometer says 120, but there's a governor that stops it at 92.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel like that's stuff at work. I feel like it's stuff for too, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess like, not necessarily science people, but still, like working on chemicals, you think people would get some sort of scientific mindset?
Right. They don't. They don't.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like the maintenance guy at work thinks that we can't run our pumps past 40 psi because he heard that 40 psi is bad, but our pumps are rated for 600 psi. So some things move really, really slow. I'm like, why don't you turn it up? Well, it says here 600, like it says on there, can run up to 600 psi, but then the gauges go up to 800 psi.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, just run it at like 200 psi. You can do that.
You just turn it up a little bit every day. Just at like 51 day. You're like, oh, it's fine.
I don't deal with that. I just have to hear people complain.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's slow, and I'm like, no, I'm trying not to get arrested, you know, by the FAA right now. So.
Yeah. But I don't know. Speaking of myth things, I feel like, so I found a great YouTube channel, Picture Fit. What are you looking at in your mug? This is like way worse than me texting.
My mug is oxidized, so it's like I have to really clean it.
Like every time I talk, JD just stares with a puzzled look at his mug, like the whole time. Like I have no idea if he's listening. I don't know.
Well, I've responded, so obviously I'm listening.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the thing about I feel like the myth thing the thing before that I really drug out because I didn't know I was waiting I was giving you time to get back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Picture Fit. So it's did you ever watch like Minute Physics or Minute Earth or any of those?
Nope.
So they're good. They're like we should probably put hashtag Minute Physics, hashtag Minute Earth in this because they're like pretty popular channels. We try to piggyback on that.
It'd be sweet. I'm working on getting a third mic, so maybe we can have like famous guests on.
Yeah, like
Robert Frank.
Carmen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's about our famous level at this
No,
point.
I mean, if we have guests on, they have to have
Yeah.
some social media experience. You
Like
know.
Brittany.
No, like people have to like them too.
I mean, we don't know anyone
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at talking to people.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
You got someone actually famous. They're like, "Oh, come in the studio." You're like, this is just your bedroom. no,
No.
no, it's cool. This is the studio.
Kev, don't ever mention it's my bedroom. It's a studio.
Like, well, you can sit on the bed. It's the most comfortable chair.
No, I'll get them a more comfortable chair, more comfortable than you. You know. But.
Yeah, I have the worst chair. This is probably the worst chair anyone's ever podcasted out of.
People have sat on milk crates podcasting. Anyway, your Fit Minute.
Yeah. Picture Fit. So it's kind of like Minute Physics if you ever watched that. It's just a guy. It's like they're short explanation videos.
I get the concept.
Yeah. So, but what's cool is, so he goes in a lot of the science behind different like exercise things. Because I'm at the point I've been working out for like 5 or 6 months, and I definitely like feel a lot better. I'm definitely stronger. I don't look like a lot different. I mean, I look, but I guess even when I get fat, just my stomach gets bigger. So my stomach's smaller. But like if you looked at me, you wouldn't tell like I go to the gym all the time.
I just have giant love handles. I have giant love handles.
Yeah, well, that's the problem because both of us go to the gym all the time, but we're not guys where you would look like, oh, that guy goes to the gym all the time, you know. And it seems to be from now that I'm like looking to do more like when I am at the gym, and what I've been reading and looking into, that in order to like be in pretty good shape, you just go to the gym and you just do whatever the fuck you want to do. Well, I mean, you have to eat right too, but I mean, versus doing nothing, like even just going to the gym's like pretty good. Eating right's even better. Yeah, but it looks like to like look like you go to the gym. Oh no, was it on earlier?
Yeah, it's not on right now.
When did it die?
I don't know.
Oh no.
I gotta keep. Hold on, don't. There we go. No, it's not on. All right, keep going.
Oh no, what are we gonna do? Oh, JD's mic's not on because obviously you can't hear him talking. Those are my oh no's.
And it's still not on, so you can't just keep talking.
When did it die? Do we know?
For a few minutes there, my mic didn't work.
And we're back.
Yeah. Yeah.
After a short intermission, which
So,
was no time to you guys.
What you guys didn't hear was that I said that if you work out, you got to eat better too.
Yeah. So
You can't have fast food 4 times in one weekend.
yeah, well, that's the problem.
You totally can, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to lose weight now. Also, I have giant love handles.
Yeah, that was the other thing you guys missed. But
Yeah, but you don't have that. See, that
Yeah.
sticks out on me.
yeah, well, that's the thing. So my stomach just sticks straight. Like I have like a beer belly. Like I don't even drink a lot of beer, but like that's what I have. All those. So that's the thing I've lost a lot of going to the gym. So it's good and bad because on the one hand, like I definitely feel better, and like my biggest problem area is smaller. But like I don't. But if you looked at me, you wouldn't be like, oh, that guy goes to the gym all the time, despite the fact that I go like 4 days a week for like the last 6 months. Now I do have. I noticed the other day in the mirror, I have one single chest vein that's popped up.
Yeah.
So
You might even get a chest hair soon.
nah, no chest hair. Certainly not. I don't know. I had I guess it must have been a lower cut shirt on the other day, and like
Oh, ooh la la.
I like since I like go to the gym all the time, Kelly was making fun of me. She's like, she asked if I shave my chest hair, and I was like, no, they're down there. They're it's like the top of Homer Simpson's head. There's like 3 there. I was like, no, all 3 are down there. Here I pulled my shirt down. I was like, you can see them. They're still there. But I do have one vein that goes across.
Nice.
So yeah. So but what I was starting to say before the mic issue was, it seems like, if you just want to be in pretty good shape, you just go to the gym. Like whatever you do is probably fine. But if you want to like look like you go to the gym, it looks like it's like a lot of work.
It doesn't look like it's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, to be like, so, but this Picture Fit channel is pretty interesting because what they talked about was, so he doesn't just say stuff, like, I mean, like, before this, I was listening to Robert Frank. I mean, he obviously, and like he tells you like he's a gym bro, like he's not a bodybuilder, like he's not about the science, like he just is like has a big chested arms.
See, that's actually the one thing that keeps me from, like, if I didn't have like a big chest, like a
Yeah.
thick chest, I'd be fat as shit.
Yeah, but you have it, so you're good.
Yeah, it just blends with a jacket on.
Yeah. So, and I listened to a couple other channels that were like more like him, like Bro Science Life, I think is super funny. So this Picture Fit channel, so they have short videos and they give you evidence for everything. And like not only, and what I like about them is not only do they say, oh well, these are the claims, these are a couple research studies, there was a meta-analysis, this is what they showed, but they dig a little deeper too. They don't just do surface level, like they'll say, oh well, there was one meta-analysis done, looked at 10 studies, it was a pretty good, pretty good number of subjects between everything they looked at, but all the study, what I was listening to earlier is like, but all the studies were only in untrained males. So you can't extrapolate it to like, after you've been going to the gym for like a year or something, and so it's pretty interesting because it's not just, surface level or like what's worked for him or like, recommendations like that. As a consequence, his answer to most, at the end of most videos is sort of like, it depends. Like, well, this is what the research sort of says, but like there's nothing definitive yet. So like if you're doing something else that's working for you, still do it.
Well, you're in the you're in the medical field, so I don't know if you had to do a lot of research to get your master's.
Yeah, like a little bit.
Yeah. So being in psychology, you have to do a ton of research, and when you do research, like I think just on like I've researched a lot of things just on stress alone.
Yeah,
I've probably read and wrote up reviews on, I'd probably say between 70 and 80 papers just on stress.
yeah,
Because that was like my big research thing. And most of the studies are like, it really depends on the person, their background, male, female, how they were brought up, whether they have like family history. So it's like as close as we are as people genetically, it's that argument of nature versus nurture is still so strong in anything.
Yeah. And I think that's probably with a lot of these research, these like, exercise sort of studies, it's not like it's a big topic of research, where there's, like major universities are like looking into it, I mean, unfortunately a lot of the studies are done by like supplement companies and shit. They like want to make money off it, so it seems like, at least listen to this guy, there's only a handful of researchers that are really like legitimate researchers that are looking into this stuff, and they don't have the resources to do like big randomized control trials with stuff. Like a lot of the studies are pretty subpar. Fortunately, it seems like in the last few years, again, just from what I learned from this guy, that there's been a bunch of meta-analysis done of like older studies. So that's something at least, but it's still not like great, You
know who does a lot of studies on exercise, fitness, and nutrition?
Who's that?
Drexel.
Really?
And UPenn.
Okay.
Yeah, they do a lot of on there because Drexel does a lot of biomedical research, and so does UPenn.
Okay.
So they've done a lot of studies and research on nutrition and fitness, and they're pretty what is it,
like pretty non-biased.
Yeah, non-biased. They don't want to prove one thing or another. They're not there to prove. They just want to see how it affects people.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you do a placebo for exercise.
Yeah.
I guess you just don't do anything.
Yeah, it's usually they usually would compare it to something else, like
for instance, like I know stress, they just have people not exercise or not eat something or not smoke or you know, and that's their like control.
A lot of like the one meta-analysis we talked about was like how many sets you should do. There's there's a couple older fitness guys that had the idea that you do one set. You do one set to failure. I think you're done. And that was like a popular idea apparently for a while. So like one of the big studies they looked at, like they compared like more traditional like 3 to 5 set, training regimens with like one set to failure.
And once again, it depends on A, the person, B, what your goals are.
Exactly. That was the big thing about it. It depends on your goals. What the one thing I thought was most interesting was the rep range. And a lot of it. So essentially the basis was, you find your 1 rep max. And the idea was, if you want to build more strength, so essentially if you want like denser muscles, like if you want like more like bridges in your muscles and like a better, and they even talked about, and I didn't understand this fully, but like sort of like a neurological component too, to like more muscle strength, then you should do essentially like 90% of your 1 rep max, and that you could do to like 3 to 5 reps. And that'll build basically stronger muscles. But if you want bigger muscles, you do like, I think it was like 75 or 80% of your 1 rep max. You do it for like 6 to 12. And that's the reason why, bodybuilders look bigger, but they're actually weaker than like powerlifters. Because powerlifters lift heavy weights, they get strong muscles, but they don't get like these big bulking muscles.
Right. And then I do know like what I do usually. Sometimes I do like the heavier stuff, but
Yeah.
because I try to get my heart rate up.
Yeah.
And I try to like sweat and everything. Like mine's more for the weight loss. So I'll do 50%.
Yeah.
But high reps.
So that builds your energy.
Yeah.
So essentially that was the third category.
Yeah.
Was and I think that was at 50% 1 rep max, and doing like 25 to like 100 reps in a set.
Right.
That basically causes your muscles to make more cellules and store more like glycogen and stuff in the muscle, so that your endurance is better.
Right. And helps metabolism, and the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn.
Yeah. Another thing that was interesting too, and I noticed this myself, and I thought there was something to this because, I went to the gym for like a year, then I was off for like a year, and then I started going back, and I felt like I got, at least strength wise, I got back pretty quickly to where I was after working out for like a year before. And apparently, certain like I think it's something like your muscle cells make more nuclei as you train them and as they get bigger. And when you stop working out, I mean, you lose your muscle gains, but that increased number of nuclei stay around. So like then when you start working out, your body doesn't have to build muscle and like rebuild up these nuclei. Like they're already still there from your previous training. So it's sort of like a soft save of like your previous workout. I don't know if you take years off, if that still applies.
Yeah. So that means I have so many nuclei from when I was in the army.
Essentially, yeah. So yeah. I mean, that would basically make it easier to continue. Like, if you stop training for like 6 months, you wouldn't pick right back up, but you would get back to where you are like within a couple months versus like 6 months or a year.
All right. Real quick, I'm going to change the subject because I'm real curious about what you think. What do you think about the Super Bowl? And now I know we talked about last week that you don't feel like they deserved it, or there's no build up.
Yeah, this wasn't exciting.
Like, what do you think? What do you think is going to end up happening? Like, who do you got for winning?
So there was a Boston market in South Philly today, where they covered up the Boston with Philly. This is a Philly market.
Philly market. Like we could both agree that win or lose, Philly's being burnt down.
Yes.
Okay.
I do wonder now they've called attention to it if all the Boston markets will be looted if they lose. But so I just don't know. I really have a feeling like the Eagles are going to win. I had that feeling all along, like through all the playoffs. Like I remember before the playoffs started, like saying about oh, what happens if Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl? Because I really thought in my head that it could happen. I never really got all the worry that people had about him, just because I mean he's so hot. In a way, like he's so hot and cold that like there's no point in worrying, because whatever happens. But on the because if he has a bad day, it's just how it is. But that being said, I mean, every game he's played in, they've won. Even in the regular season where people are like, oh, he is awful. He looks awful. They won those games.
Yeah.
So I mean, he literally hasn't lost a game where they've played in its entirety since he took over for Carson Wentz.
He has no interceptions.
Yeah. So I don't really understand the worry.
Last week or the week before or last week. Anyway, he had almost a perfect passer rating.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, he was really good last week, but even in the games he wasn't good, he still won those games. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure who has more points at the end of the game is the most important factor, not how it looked in the middle. Because the defense is the same way.
Defense is amazing. They're gonna wrap them up.
Well, they are, but you remember those first couple Nick Foles games? The defense looked terrible, but you know what? They held the other teams to almost no points.
Right. Hey, you want to hear? I was asking you what you were going to do for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you had no idea.
Oh, we should go to my parents' house.
No, I got backup plans. I got to apologize.
Yeah.
As soon as the Eagles won,
yeah,
Nate texted me.
Yeah.
Not as soon, but like the very next day.
Yeah.
My buddy who lives in Colorado, Nate, he texted me. He goes, I bought plane tickets.
Yeah.
To come back to Philadelphia to watch the Eagles game.
He should come to my parents' house too.
He goes.
He's invited.
He goes, we're going to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So my brother's friend,
yeah,
they looked around for places to go watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I expect to cover. Xfinity Live wants $175.
Jesus Christ.
For a cover.
They're
and
assholes.
they go, whatever you spend on your bill, that gets taken off from up to $175. Then you have to pay. So if you get $180 worth of food and drink, just you only have to pay $5.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, I could never drink and eat 100 in 3.5, 4 hours. I could never drink and eat $175.
It'd be like $100 though.
Yeah, but $175. And then chicken and Pete's.
Can you take it home?
No.
Huh.
Then chicken and Pete's.
Yeah.
Want it for $80. They want it $80. That's just to get in. That's the cover.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other places want it 40, and some places want it 60, and they're not really catering to like the average fan like me and you that really can't afford $80 and then buy drinks and food.
Yeah.
They're gonna get a bunch of yuppies in there. Like I don't want to be mean, but they're gonna get mostly yuppies.
Yeah.
Or people that don't like
crowd.
really have to pay. A lot of people in South Philly, they live in a household where it's 2 bedrooms and 36 people live in there, and like that's who's gonna go there because they all don't have to pay bills.
Everyone pays $5 towards the bill.
Yeah. So listen. So my brother's friend found this deal at Nick's Roast Beef on Cotman Avenue. Listen to this deal.
Oh, that's pretty close to like where a big party will be too. If people always go out to Frankfurt and comment.
So come out and join us at Nick's Roast Beef on Sunday, February. They said 5th. It's the 4th.
Yeah.
Kicking off at 6 p.m. for our annual Super Bowl party. $40 a person, includes full buffet, menu below, which I'll read after this.
Yeah.
You know me, I love reading menus.
Yeah.
Cheesecake menus. Bottomless draft beer and 16-ounce Bud and Bud Light aluminum bottles and well liquor drinks from whistle to whistle. Don't forget about our famous dessert bar at the start of the third quarter. Prizes, games, and giveaways throughout the night. Buy your tickets now and reserve your seating by calling or stopping in today. So my brother's friend bought 13 tickets.
I feel like they're gonna regret the $40 thing.
They're gonna lose. They have to lose money because listen to this buffet.
Yeah.
By the way, it's from 6 to 10 or the end of the game or whatever. I can drink $40 in beer, draft beer, like at cost. I can drink $40. Listen to this menu: barbecue ribs, buffalo wings, Bavarian pretzels, French bread pizza, cheesesteak station, jumbo hot dogs, grilled brats, buffalo chicken egg rolls, our famous nacho stadium, hoagies, mussels, barbecue pulled chicken, and build your own French fry. Oh, sorry, snow crab legs, ice cream bar, fresh baked cookies.
Huh. But you realize if they lose the Super Bowl that we watched the previous game together, so it's your fault if they lose the Super Bowl. I'm saying it right here on Holy Costa.
Yeah, but did you hear that spread?
I mean, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, for $40.
You're willing to sell out the Eagles for snow crab legs.
I don't even eat seafood.
Yeah.
But for like barbecue wings and cheesesteak station and build your own fries and bottomless beer, Shit, I would go to watch the game $40 for bottomless beer and well drinks.
So apparently, when we were when we were at my house for the NFC Championship game, and you were like asleep on the couch, my parents had all this food at their house, and like they figured we were in South Philly, so they didn't say anything.
Like how
So-
much? How much food?
Like, apparently, like a bunch. I don't know.
Yeah, but I couldn't comfortably sleep at their house.
yeah, no, you wouldn't be able to sleep.
And then I wouldn't have got that awesome note on my car.
Yeah.
I probably would have still parked there. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna walk over there for the Super Bowl because it sounds like they'll have a lot of food again. So, and I think like a handful of people are gonna be over there, so should be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, but as far as the Super Bowl goes, so I think the Eagles are gonna win, but I don't know. It's a shame because in the 13 years between the last Super Bowl the Eagles were in and this Super Bowl, where like Tom Brady's been in like a shit ton of other Super Bowls, while we have like
Six or eight or something.
yeah, I don't even know how. It doesn't even matter how many. I always really liked watching him in the Super Bowl. I basically rooted for him in all the intervening Super Bowls, because it's just so awesome in like big games. Like, was it last year that they won? I mean, this happened multiple times, but they won like a last minute drive. Or was it the year before? Or was it both years? I don't even remember. But I just remember watching. I feel like there was a Super Bowl against the Giants that they won last minute too. Are you going to how many Super Bowls?
Yeah. Super Bowl. England Patriots. Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than any other quarterback in history, with 5, and the most Super Bowl MVPs of any NFL player.
Yeah.
So he's been in more than 5, but he has 5 rings.
I think it was one with the Giants where he just marched down the field and won, or it might have been last year, or it might have been both.
But didn't the Giants beat him one year?
I think Giants beat him 1 year
Yeah.
too.
Eli, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I just remember watching and like, it was just so awesome to see. Like, and I guess because at this point, I mean, he's with a veteran team, he's been with these guys for a long time, and they just have been in these situations where they, have just won before, so they just expect that they're going to win again. So essentially, I just remember watching the game, and it was like, the game's basically over, they've lost, and then they get Tom Brady the ball back, and they just so calmly just walk up to the line. It's like, okay, guys, let's win the game, and they just walk up to the line, and they just strike, touchdown, like it just surgical, like down the field. Like just like it's not even an effort. Just like obviously they're gonna win because they're the Patriots and Tom Brady. Yeah. And it's like awesome to see like people just play at a different level, right, than like anyone else has ever played.
Well, here's the thing about it.
Yeah.
If Nate wasn't flying in, I'd watch with you at your parents' house.
Yeah.
But because Nate is flying in, I'm going to go with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the middle of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I'm going to watch the city erupt.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to run home and go straight to bed because I got work in the morning.
Or like riot. We'll see which one.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to pay like the $30 to get there in an Uber, but I'm definitely Ubering there.
Yeah. But I don't know. So I think there's one or two ways that it could go. I mean, probably the best situation is to never let Tom Brady even get in a situation where he could win the game. Just come out, get a lead, and then just the defense shut them down and just never let it happen.
Just like 4 or 5 sacks. That's all they need.
Yeah. I mean, that I think is the most realistic way. The other way that would be really epic would be Tom Brady gets his last drive and this like, I mean, this defense is like an all-time.
Pick 6.
I mean, it's like an all-time great defense, and that they just shut him down in the last drive and just like finally stop, like basically end his run. Because this has got to be it for him, right?
No, he wants to play more.
Yeah, I guess.
He wants to play till he's 50.
Yeah, I guess. He looks the same as he did. I mean, Christ, it was 2004.
Well,
he looks exactly the same.
Brett Favre and what's his name? Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
When they got to 40,
yeah,
you could tell throwing the ball pained.
Yeah.
They were in pain. They couldn't throw the ball more than 20 yards. Yeah. They couldn't throw it like over their head. They had to throw it from the side.
Yeah.
Like you could tell they were in pain the entire time. Tom Brady throws it. He looks like he's like 25.
Yeah, because he is not human.
Oh. Also, he barely gets hit. So
Yeah, I mean I guess he's played what 15 years in the league, but basically hasn't had to expend any effort because he's just that much better than everyone else. So
right.
he's really just warming up.
He's like Michael Vick. Michael Vick was like 32, but because he went to jail for 2 years,
Yeah,
he was totally fresh.
yeah, it's true. That's a shame. That's a shame his career ended as early.
Tom
as it
Brady,
did.
is 40 years old.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't. He really doesn't seem any different than the last time the Eagles played him in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
which was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's really crazy. I mean, forget the number of quarterbacks the Eagles have. I mean, there's not a single person on the field that was on the field 14 years ago for the Eagles, and the Patriots still have the same quarterback. Like, it's insane.
Brady was selected with pick 199,
Yeah.
6th round in the NFL draft.
Yeah. I mean, you wanted to know the combination, like if he played for like a worse organization or if he didn't play for Bill Belichick, like, I mean, he still would have been good, but he probably would have been like this.
No, he would have been a top quarterback, but probably not 5
Yeah,
Super Bowl rings.
Not like the best quarterback
But
of all time.
then you gotta think Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was given bags of shit to work with,
Yeah.
and but then there were so many free agents over the last 15 years on the Patriots, and he just turned them into studs.
Yeah.
Like other than because every NFL team has an ex-Patriot on it, every single
Yeah.
one of them. Other than Gronk and
Yeah.
Tom Brady, name another Patriots player.
Well, that's the thing, and that's the way it's been the whole time. I mean, it was like the same philosophy as Andy Reid, although Bill Belichick just did it better, or maybe just had a better quarterback.
Yeah, because every year like, oh, ex-Patriot, 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 ex-Patriot.
Yeah.
Like every single team. Like I think the Eagles have 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the and I mean, if you think about it logically, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you get better players, obviously, the coach's job is easier. But I mean, any guy that's playing in the NFL is, a supreme athlete. I mean, they're incredibly physically talented, and it's just a matter of training them the right way and putting them in the right position to get the job done. I mean, a better player obviously will have better results, but I mean, the margin is so small probably between the best and worst NFL player.
Oh, they're the top 2% athletes in the world.
That's what I mean. So even if you got a team of the worst NFL players together, and you coach them the right way, I mean, you'd have a good team.
Like one of our top running backs, LeGarrette Blount, played for the Patriots 2013.
I like him a
and
lot.
then 2014 to 2016, and then the Eagles picked him up.
Yeah.
And some people say he was at the end of his career because he's 31. Yeah, he's 31, and he just runs people over.
Yeah,
and then
I like him a lot.
He just got off the Patriots squad, and he's like super into Philly. Like he gave like an awesome speech and shit.
Yeah, I really like. I said it before. I really liked at the beginning of the year he wasn't getting a lot of playing time, and he bitched about it. He said, "Why did you guys bring me here? Like I came here to run the football." Right. And then Peterson let him run the football, and he ran the fuck over guys.
Yeah.
And he really carried them through the middle part of the season until they got Ajayi, and then Ajayi took over more.
Right. Yeah, but the last playoff game, Blunt went crazy.
Yeah.
He was bouncing off people.
And that's the thing. And like there's some guys that are playoff guys, and these guys that have experience with the Patriots, especially, they've gone deep in the playoffs. You would expect that they're playoff guys. Like my favorite player in any sport ever is Danny Briere.
How's that?
He could because first off, he's like my height. He's like 170 pounds, and he's just awesome. But his thing was, he was a big moment player, and I just think that's the coolest thing in sports. In the regular season, Danny Briere was like pretty good. He is a top line guy. He
is 5'9", 174 pounds.
He's definitely 5'7". I've seen him in real life. He's not taller than me. So, but yeah, I mean, in the regular season, he's a good top line player. Not necessarily anything special, but then in the playoffs, and every year, and in the NFL or in the NHL, like every team fucking makes the playoffs. So I mean, he was in the playoffs for most of his career. And I mean, it would just like a switch would flip. Everybody else would be the same, and Danny Briere would be like 3 Danny Brieres. It just would just all of a sudden would always be in the right place and would just be faster and stronger than everybody else. And I think he had I forget his career playoff stats, but they were something insane compared to his regular season stats.
Daniel Jean-Claude Danny Briere.
Yes.
Maybe we get Danny Briere on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's doing anything anymore. So
yeah. He retired in 2015. So
one thing that I always thought was fascinating. I mean, and I mean, I listen to all his interviews, but I'm sure like every French Canadian was the same way. Was that if they talked to, if they talked to an American sportscaster, they would say French Canadian names like French people would say them, like Cristobal Huet, that's how he would say it. Yeah. And then if you talk to French Canadian, like you talk to Montreal sportscaster, he would say it like they would say it. So it'd be like Cristobal Hewitt. But like he would say it differently depending on who he was talking to. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
So I guess so how'd you like your mule?
I liked it actually. I would drink this again over a podcast beer, and I don't feel drunk at all, and I feel like it's not gonna affect my gains afterwards.
Yeah. Well, podcast beer, like it's essentially if you had one beer. Yeah. So if you had another one, you'd feel like I mean, it's also you're drinking soda too. Like it's a legitimate soda, and then vodka, and then lime juice. So, but I figured out how to pause the podcast. Yeah. In the middle of the podcast, but it always takes me like 3 or 4 seconds to stop it.
We're certainly not going to edit this.
No, absolutely not. I'm not spending time on this. Yeah. I mean, you can't figure out what fucking Spotify is. I'm not going to edit this. Yeah. But that's it for this week's Whole Wheat Costa.